It's time for another episode of Let's Talk Business South Carolina, featuring industry outlooks, panel discussions on trending topics, and interviews with business executives, community leaders, and government officials. And now, coming to you from the Drum Creative Studio, here's your host, longtime South Carolina business publisher, Rick Jenkins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Business South Carolina. We are at episode number 44, if you are keeping score. As always, I am your host, Rick Jenkins, and today I am joined by Kristen Powell. Kristen is the president and CEO at ABC Carolinas, ABC standing for the Associated Builders and Contractors. They are a trade association, national trade association that represents the construction industry. Now, recently, ABC held its annual Excellence in Construction Awards Gala. The highlight of the event was the announcement of the General Contractor and Specialty Contractor Project of the Year. And Kristen is here to tell us all about it. Kristen,
well, thank you for having me, Rick.
You are welcome. It is good to have you here. Now, we were talking right before we came on the air. ABC Carolinas, of course, covers North and South Carolina, headquartered in Charlotte. You live in Charlotte. You made the trip down to Greenville.
Not too far at all. It's
right
down 85.
But this is home.
It is. I grew up here. Right. My parents still live here. And so it is definitely my second home, and I just love it so much. I love all the Carolinas, but Greenville holds a very special place in my heart.
Well, I can understand that. You have been with ABC for 11 years, but before that, you worked a variety of jobs in sports marketing. We're talking the Greenville Drive, the Carolina Panthers, cool jobs that this guy wishes he had. How did you get into sports marketing?
Well, I went to Winthrop University right in Rock Hill and went originally for early childhood education, and I quickly realized that I do not have the patience for it, even though I love children. I have two of my own, but I learned about the sports management program that they had there, and they have really close ties with a lot of the local sports in Charlotte and around the Carolinas, and so started working on game days as just at the will call booth at the Panthers, and then I had an internship while I was junior and senior in college, and then I graduated in 2009, which there were no jobs to be had, so I moved back here to Greenville and worked as the director of ticket operations at the Drive for a year, and then went back to Charlotte in 2011 and worked in premium services and in the ticket office, doing a lot of events and hospitality, customer service. Very similar to what we do at ABC, but just a completely different industry.
Right. Well, let's talk about ABC here for a minute. First of all, we're going to be talking about the EIC Gala, right, which is Excellence in Construction Awards, right? And you do it every year. Been holding these awards for about 20 years now.
2005, yes.
Right? So we're talking, this was the 20th one, I guess.
It was. Well, it's our 20th program. We had to skip a year in 2020. We still had the program. We just had to give out all the awards to all of the different offices. We didn't get to hold a gala.
That's right. Of course, we're talking COVID impact.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that event in a second. But first, before we do, let's talk about ABC for a second. National Trade Association supports the construction industry. Tell us about it.
Associated Builders and Contractors was built on the merit shop philosophy in Baltimore in the 1950s, really just to help people to win work safely, ethically, and regardless of any affiliation with a union or labor association. It's based on merit, and so that quickly grew, and now we have 67 chapters throughout the United States, and many are multi-states like the Carolinas.
That's right.
So ABC Carolinas came here in 1998, and so we've had about 26 years here in the Carolinas.
Yeah. Now, if I remember right, looking at the website, the National Association has about 23,000 members.
23,000.
What about the Carolinas?
We have right at 500.
Okay. Tell me, Kristen, who can be a member of ABC? How does that work?
It is anybody who works in commercial construction. So not only do we have general contractors, subcontractors, but we also have anybody that works with those contractors, so suppliers and associate members like banks who loan money to those contractors, or lawyers who do construction law, insurance agents. So anybody that touches the commercial construction industry is welcome and encouraged to be a member. And we have events. We have about 74 events a year, and we have 7 different council areas within the Carolinas, and so it's about one event a month, not including our young professionals events.
Right. What about services? What services do you all provide your members?
Really, our 4 main pillars are networking. So, like I said, we'll put on networking events, golf tournaments, clay shoots, socials, just to get to know other people within the industry. We work in government affairs, so really helping the lawmakers in Columbia and in Raleigh to know that the construction industry is a large part of their constituents and that we have a voice. We have events in both of the capitals every year. We also work very heavily in workforce development. I think that anybody who works in construction can tell you that's their number one issue, is finding skilled laborers. So
Sure.
we are working with a multitude of different people to try and get apprenticeship into schools, so where they can, it's a dual credit, and then we work with our members who can then work with those students and hire them after they graduate.
I'm glad you brought up workforce because it's where I was going next. On our next episode of Let's Talk Business, we will be hearing the 2025 Workforce Outlook with Herb Dew, who is the CEO over at Human Technologies Incorporated. So just a little plug there for the next episode. But I'm glad you brought it up because we are South Carolina, in North Carolina as well as a manufacturing state.
Yes.
Right? South Carolina, especially over these past several years. And so everybody knows about manufacturing workforce challenges. And in the Carolinas, we also know about challenges that occur in the hospitality industry. I don't think people think too much about the construction industry, unless you are in that industry, of course, or aware of it, when they think of workforce challenges. But it is tough to find people in your industry.
It
Yes?
really is. And that is probably my biggest passion, and what I want to leave a mark on, is that I want to change the brand of the construction industry so that people realize that construction is more than just a hammer and a hard hat, that
Yeah.
you can have a very successful career in construction, and have no debt, have your apprenticeship and schooling paid for, and have a job, and love what you're doing. So it's really getting into those schools and working with the young people, to really just open their eyes and give them the opportunity to see what all the construction industry has, to just see if they're a fit.
Let's talk about this awards gala. So we're talking again the EIC awards, right? The Excellence in Construction Awards. So tell us about this event. What all happens there?
Well, I like to call it the Oscar nights for construction. So this is the one night of the year that everybody comes out and is dressed to the nines. We had almost 400 people there this year, and that was an off year. Last year we had almost 600, so we're very excited. I think next year we'll be close to 700 again. So we're excited about that, but it's where we celebrate the construction industry, the best of the best award projects within the Carolinas. And it's some of them are projects that they did outside of the Carolinas. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the Carolinas. It's just that the Carolinas office
Right.
managed it.
So tell me, Kristen, how do you submit an application? I would assume you have to be either nominated or self-nominate for some project.
Correct. It's
Right, that you're working on.
self-nominated, and it's really very, you have to be very picky because a lot of our contractors have multiple offices within the Carolinas. So you can only have one Eagle winner in each of the different categories and the project volume. So let's say we've got a contractor that has 2 projects in commercial, 10 to 25 million. They have 2 years to submit, and so they may want to hold one of them for next year so that they can, if they feel like 2 of them could get first place, they don't want to compete against each other. But it is self nominated. We have an online application that it's pretty intense. It's not just putting your name in a hat and hoping for the best.
So you have the 2 big awards. How many nominations did you have in each?
We had 3 finalists in each project of the year for general contractor and specialty contractor.
But how many nominations? You recall?
We had about 30 for each,
I see.
30 projects.
Okay. So you had about 30 nominations for each. You guys narrowed it down. You have a judging panel.
We do.
Yep.
We have about 10 judges that all come from the construction industry, but they are not contractors, so there's no conflict of interest. But we've got some that are architects, engineers. We have some of the student chapter professors from some of the local colleges to sit down. It's a 1-week judging process. It's all online, and it takes about probably about an hour to look at each one, and each of the projects has to be judged 3 times. So they have their work cut out for them.
Right. So you have 30 nominees. You cut it down to 3 in each category, and I would assume those 3 come to the event, and they all find out together who the winner is?
Well, we give out all of the Eagle and Merit Awards, which is the first and second place in each category. We tell them before, ahead of time. So they will come, and all of the Eagle Awards and Merit Award winners come up on stage and accept their award. But the 3 top finalists for Project of the Year, that is what is a surprise. And the pinnacle of the evening is finding out who won those.
Okay, so let's talk about them. The general contractor project of the year, who was the winner?
It was Southcon Building Group.
Southcon Building Group, where are they located?
They are out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, but they do work in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
And what project did they win for?
They had an 1800s gin mill renovation, and it is beautiful. It was just this wonderful, I mean, it was over 170 years old that they had to go in and protect all of the historical information and all of the things and keep a lot of that history, but also making it up to date and
Sure.
safe.
And I believe it was called Boone Hall
It was
Plantation.
Yes.
And Boone Hall is located where?
It's in Mount Pleasant.
It's in Mount
It
Pleasant.
is.
Okay. And Southcon headquartered
They're in Mount.
in
they are
Mount Pleasant as well. Okay, I got you. And then the specialty contractor project of the year. Who was that award?
That was Baker Contracting.
Okay.
And they won that for the St. Albans residential. And so they are Baker Contracting. They're a concrete specialty contractor based out of Ohio, but they have offices in Raleigh, Clayton, and Charlotte, North Carolina. But they do work all throughout the United States and the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so this project was handled out of one of those Carolina
It was
offices.
out of the Raleigh office, and they it was a turnkey event or a turnkey project where they had it was about a 7-month project that they completed, and had all the different coverings, floor coverings, and concrete. So they did a lot in a little bit of a time.
Right. So, Kristen, I know those were the two biggies,
Right.
Those are the two big awards, but you do other awards as well.
We do.
And I believe that they are Eagle Awards and Merit Awards.
Exactly.
And there are many categories for that, right?
We
How many?
do. We have about 40. It's really based on who submits and what different category.
I see.
But we had about 30 in this year's program.
Got it.
And then we had about 40 different awards within those. So we had about 25 Eagles and 15 Merits.
So 25 Eagles, those are first place,
They are
and the Merits are runners up.
the runner-up. Yes.
I see. And on your website, I would assume people can see all those winners.
They can.
That's right.
Yes.
And if I remember right, if you win an Eagle Award, it allows you to apply for a national award?
It does. So Eagle and Merits are eligible for the National Excellence in Construction Awards, and that will be held February 23rd in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's a tough trip. Are you going?
I'm going to be there
Yeah.
cheering on our Carolinas.
All right, good. I hope you get some personal time to have a little bit of fun.
Well, I have fun just seeing everybody there, and it's going to be fun either way.
Well, of course it will. Kristen, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome, folks. That is Kristen Powell, and that concludes another episode of Let's Talk Business South Carolina. Glad you joined us. We'll see you next time.